Since you can't be live to greet new viewers 24/7, since you can't be live to greet new viewers,
Good morning. I thought I'd do a little bit more work in the fermenting house and get this factory ready to be a placeable to use in all three of the maps once uh, Richie's Ritchieville and Richie's Hollow gets updated. But we're going to have to do a lot more work to get stuff moved around into the visibility node transform groups. So I'm going to create a transform group, cut it from there, paste it in here, and this one's going to be display in, and it will duplicate that, and we'll go display out. And then I'm going to have to move these. And probably put them back in place. Oh, no, they're going to fall into place. That is always a good thing. And then I'm just going to delete all the transforms we don't need. To make the factory both placeable and buildable, I have to get everything into two separate transform groups. So the only thing I want left on the in transform group are just my two triggers. So, and then hopefully when I move this transform group over and this visibility node over, it doesn't jack them out of place where I'm going to have to move them, but let's give it a shot. Let's cut them from there, paste them in here. Cool, left them in, and then the visibility node for the power. Cut it from there, paste it into here, perfect. And then that one can get deleted. So the only thing left in our in transform group are our two triggers. Now let's fix the out. Our out transform group. Cut it, paste it, and then delete them as we go. So the only thing left in our out transform group is just a trigger, and that's what we want. So in transform group is fixed, our out transform group is fixed. Player trigger is under the map for now until we put it into place. Now we have to get our warning stripes into the main transform group. So we're going to cut it from there and then move it up here. So it takes care of that. We don't have any heaps, so we can delete that. We can delete that. Clear areas we're not going to set quite yet. Now our operating parts, which are our smoke and our pallet spawners, are going to have to move. Actually, the pallet spawners can stay where they're at because they're invisible. Our smoke, we're going to have to move that into the main transform group. So we're going to take We're going to create a new transform group. We're going to cut it. We're going to paste it into this transform group. Call it operating parts, and then we're going to move our particle systems into that transform group, and then it moved it. Oh, it's still there, so it's right where we want it. So our spawners can stay where they're at. We got to move our lights into the other transform group. So let's hopefully these will move where we won't have to adjust every single one of them. So cut it from there, paste it into here, and it stayed in place, so we're cool. Camera is where? Is that the camera we're on? It's the camera we're on. It's the only camera. Okay. And audio. Let's check the sound. It's about right. Beacon is good. Player triggers under the map for now. So, sorry, let me grab a sip of coffee. I'm going to bring in one more building. So I'm going to go File. I'm going to import the entire Pi Factory in here. Desktop, Pi Factory. Slider, it can stay there. We want this building for now. Edit, I'm going to cut it out of there. I'm going to put it in my main transform group. So I want that building for now. And I want to get it in place before I bring the rest of the Pi Factory back in. So for now I'm just going to delete it back out. And then I want this building over here. But I want to move, this tank's going to get moved. The manure pit is going to get moved. And the trigger is going to get moved. I want this guy sitting here next to this building. And we may have to shrink him down a little bit. Bring him in. About there. Because we want So this is where our pallets are going to spawn out. I want to be able to pick up maybe the other side. Nope, we've got the steps there. I need a place to pick up trash, but I also need a spot to pick up the liquid. But I don't want it to interfere with these triggers. But I also need a trash pit. But I think I could put the trash pit in there. The trash pit, the liquid pickup for the rum and the wines are going to run off, and the sewage is all going to run off the same trigger, so I've got to get them relatively close, but without blocking the entrance in here. What I may do is pull him over here and spin him around. Let's go minus 90, so it's square, and leave a little bit of room to drive through there. That will work because we can stretch this trigger out a little bit. So let's bring our concrete silo back. Yeah, that'll work. I think we can make this work. Bring the concrete silo back. That will definitely work. Now we can move this guy back a little bit more. Bring our liquid manure pit back over. Square it up. So we can pick up our liquids, our liquid manure, and then eventually our trash, all from the same trigger when we bring it back over. Just put her there for now. And then, yeah, we can still drive a truck here and pick up our products. We can take this other sign. Where are you? This one here. So let's duplicate that. Bring them back here. Make so the back of this building's not just plain. Zero that out, and then slide it back here. And just up a little bit. That looks better. Now we need the trash. So I'm going to import the Pie Factory back in. I want this pit. We're going to cut that out. Add it to the visibility node. I want the pipe. And we need the trash pile, the heap itself. I'm going to put that in the out transform group. So edit, we're going to cut it from there. I'm going to paste it here in the out. And now we're going to get rid of the Pi factory again. And get these in place. And this trash pile is going to be a little bit smaller than the Pi factory. Square it up. And I'm going to put it about here. Do we want it that way? No, I don't mind the front of this one being open. So let's go this way. So let's go -90. I'm going to leave it so it looks like we're bringing the trash out the door. Hillbilly 359, hello. I'm doing well. How are you today? Other than my sinus is absolutely killing me. But I wanted to get some work done on the placeable fermenting house today. And it's going to make red wine, melon wine, rice wine, rum, sauerkraut vinegar, and then we'll get some trash, some sewage, and then some dead power cells to recharge after putting the power cells in. So on this one, I'm not going to need this pipe, but let's see what it looks like anyway. I may just get rid of the pipe on this one. Yeah, I'm not going to need it on this one. So we'll delete that back out. But I do want to bring the plane over. Oh, did I put that in the wrong transform group? Nope, it's right where I wanted it. Okay, so let's bring the plane over and resize it. And get our trash plane in place. Bring it all the way up. Spin it around. Get it square. And there. And this will be our high point. Now we're going to have to make it a little bit smaller so it's not sticking out too far. It's kinematic. Just shorten it up a little bit. Change it back to kinematic. So that'll be our high point for the transform, and then this will be our low point. That works, I like that. So that'll be our trash pile. want to get another set of warning stripes in here. Just bring this in for now. Bring this corner in for now. And let's take this corner. Oh, come on. Up to here. And this corner over to here. And then let's bring our trigger back and get it adjusted so it's a little bit bigger. And a little bit taller for the tankers. Perfect. So I'll come over here. We'll use the same trigger to pick up our liquid, our trash, and our sewage. Alright, so let me do a quick save. I did notice one error in the log. I'm missing a diffuse liquid manure texture, so we're going to have to go in and fix that in the texture folder. Or it's just not named properly. Now I want to bring in a fence, so I will create and close all these extra transform groups. I'm going to create a new transform group. I'm going to put it in the main transform group, and it's going to be our fence. And I'm thinking about putting another small building here to make an office out of, so it balances out the factory a little bit before I put the fence in. So let's go. I'm gonna take this transform group, duplicate it, we're going to call it decor. And we'll come back to those in a minute. I want to add in one more light. Just grab our lights. I'll find one close that I can, here, that one will work. I'm going to duplicate that. And I'm going to bring another light over here before I forget. Get some lighting over here when we're picking up the manure and the trash. That's a little, let's pull it out here to see what that looks like. It's a little dark where it was. Yeah, I like that better. So we can see picking up our manure and our trash at night. I'm going to save this a second. Just minimize it. I'm going to open up the main map. Oh, come on. Documents. I'm going to open up Ritchie Islands. Let that load. Yeah, this is a big map. It takes a little bit to completely load. Alright, I'm going to run my 16x script. I want to come over towards the town and get a little bit of speed. There we go. I want to grab a commercial looking building that'll sort of go with what we have going on. Let's grab, which one do we want? Let's grab the green one. It looks pretty good. I'm going to export that. Export selection with files. Desktop fermenting house. We're going to go office. I want to grab one of the parking spots. I'm going to export that. And then I want to grab a few cars to put in the parking lot. And I'll just grab these two cars. And we'll come back and fix all the textures and the pathing later. So that's all I want out of this map, so I'm not going to save it. And let's go back into here. And we're going to import the house in, or the office, into the main transform group. There we go. And I want to get it lined up. Somewhat even here, but still have room to drive straight through here with the truck. So let's get it lowered. And probably let's make it a little bit wider. gives us room to drive through here. But make it look like an office. And grab our parking. Get it in this main visibility group. And I think we're going to put the parking, let's get it up a little bit so it's not into the ground. And I actually like that back here. Take up some of this dead space. So they can park here, walk over to the office and go to work. And then let's take that last light we just duplicated. And duplicate it again. And just swing it around and bring it back here. So we have some lighting back here on the back side of the building. Gives us a little bit of light for our sign. A little bit of light for parking. Oh, let's just... You're going to cast all kind of weird shadows. You're going to cast all kind of weird shadows there. So let's go this way. And let's get you on the side of the building. And stick you in the building a little bit so you're not as bright. Alright, that'll work. Now we go back to our parking. Import those two cars. Throw it in the visibility node. And throw one here. And when we get in game, make sure it's not floating. And let's grab the second car. In our visibility node. And bring him back here. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Now let's figure out the exact footprint of this factory. So our plane, we can narrow it down. Leave room for a fence. Come back a little bit more. A little bit longer. Looks like a pretty good footprint for the factory. I'm going to import the Pi Factory back in so I can steal some fencing. Grab a 12 meter and an end. And then for now, we'll delete that out and then we'll come back and steal some more off of it when I'm ready. Alright, so we have our first piece of fence. Let's make sure we're all 1, 1, and 1. 0, 0. Let's get our square. And get our fence started. Yeah, so let's bring our end element over. And again, bring it back to 1. Square it up. Now bring it down just a little bit. And let's take this to this end. About there. Do we leave a wide opening? Or do we go one more? Yeah, that's not going to work. But what we can do is we could take this one, and I think it's the X. Yeah, we'll shorten this one up a little bit. And we'll shorten this one up a little bit. And so they doesn't look like they're out of place. And that gets me the opening that I want. And we'll take this guy. Duplicate him. And we'll start bringing him down this side. Get him squared up. There we go. down, swing him over that way, square it up to 0, and let's get him in place. Now bring our fence down. Move him down here for now. And then these two I want to shorten up a little bit. Give it a little bit better opening. That's good. Now bring this side up first. Duplicate that one, swing it out, square it up, and then slide it back. And bring it out a little bit. So you there, and then we take this guy and line him up, square him up here, bring him in a little bit, and then bring him back. One more, and that's a good size opening there. Let's save this. I'm going to save it, I'm going to close it, and then we're going to, so the cars that I brought in we no longer need. The office we no longer need, and the parking we no longer need. Now the fermenting house, since I imported all that stuff in, we're going to have to fix the textures. So we're going to take new buildings, textures, we're going to move all of these. copy them into the main texture folder, and then this one we can delete, and it keeps the files clean. And then this one we can shorten the path. So there's no files inside of files opening up textures. And then from the Pi Factory, we need Bentonwald 512. We need concrete diffuse. We need our 3 trash files. And then that'll fix these. And I'll save that. So that fixes all of our texture pathing. Close that one. Now when we open this one back up, let me close that i3D for now. I know there was one path that was still throwing an error, so let's fix the rest of our errors on the texture files. Nope, no errors this time, so it opened up all of our texture files. So all of our texture files are fixed. No errors in the console log. So that gets us our fencing. That gets us our office, but I may I'll leave it. Yeah, here. We're gonna grab this guy and let's swing him around here. I think she'll look better over here. Slide her back. And let's bring it back this way. Bring it down a little bit more. Yeah, that looks better. And then we can grab our parking lot. Spin this around. Bring more parking in here. And then let's just grab one of the cars. Let's move one of the cars over here. Yeah, I like that better. Come in, we can drive around this side of the building, we can drive straight in, we can drive in front. Now, that should be, give this another quick save. I'm going to slide this plane out a little bit further. this way. Yeah, it looks good. Now let's get our clear areas fixed. So our start is going to go here. Our width is going to go here. And our height is going to go back here. And I want to bring it in a little bit closer to where the fence is. That looks good. So that's where our clear area is going to be when we spawn it into the game. Player trigger. Let's bring Pi Factory back in because I want the icon. I'm going to cut it from there. I'm going to put it in this main visibility node. And then I'm going to get rid of the Pi Factory. Oh no, I'm going to leave the Pi Factory here a minute. Because I'm going to grab the whole wall. Put it in the main transform group. And I want player trigger 2. Put it in the main transform group. Now we can get rid of the Pi Factory, and we're going to have a big mess to clean up. The first thing I want to do is I want to get the tour icon fixed. Because I want the tour icon over here by the office. And we'll change the texture on it later. But that's where our player trigger is going to be. Yeah, that's where I want the player trigger. Now I'm going to take the wall and we're going to pull it out this way and slide it over. So I want it right in front of the fence opening. It's close. And we'll come down a little bit. I want this cone right outside the metal fence. Yeah, that looks good there. Now, I know this is going to be painful, but it's the best way for me to do it. We're just going to delete them all and just put them back in where we want them. there for now. Just pull you out. We'll put you back in place later. And then this fence. Alright. So now let's grab this whole transform group. I want to slide it out a little bit more. So it's just outside of the fence. Like that. Yeah. And road pylon will come back down to the bottom. Warning stripes can stay where they're at. We'll pull that back down to the bottom. And then we'll pull all of these back down to the bottom. So this, I'm going to put bottom after that, so I know I pull it back down. I need to pull that back down. I need to pull that back down. The exact fill roots. And then that one. This is the very bottom. And that's the last piece we're going to want. Alright, let's see. Let's try and do that without the spaces. This is our bottom. Very last item we want. Oh, I've still got a space in there. There we go. Chill Gamer, thank you for the follow, welcome. I'm just working on a placeable fermenting house for the new Islands map, and then eventually we'll be able to use it on the two older maps on Ritchiesville and Ritchie's Hollow as soon as I get them rebuilt. So now we want to take this one. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm just going to call it fence. And then we're going to build a fence, a new fence around this whole thing. Because as this fermenting house builds, this fence will disappear. So this will be a buildable placeable. Make you just a little bit longer. These don't need to be perfect because these are going to disappear as the factory builds. So I just want to get like a construction barrier around here. And it's inside the fence. Darn it. Pull these out a little bit further. And let's try that again. Like I said, these don't need to be perfect, they're just a construction barrier. But these will disappear as the factory's building. actually worked out pretty well. So let's flip him around, square him up to 0, and just bring him back. And we're still outside the fence a little bit, but slide him back a little bit more. Alright, that'll work. And we're going to have to pull him out a little bit. Get him outside of this other fence. Duplicate that one. We'll come back here and we'll just tilt him in a little bit. That'll work. Like I said, this is going to disappear as the factory builds, so it doesn't have to be perfect. That'll work. And get him to the end. Make him a little bit bigger. Slide him over. Come down this side. And just make sure it's outside the fence. Even if it's touching the fence, that's fine because it's going to disappear. Stretch him out a little bit. Just get him out here. Square him up to 0. Just make sure it's outside the fence, the metal fence. Yeah, it looks good. And bring him back a little bit. Stretch him out. Stretch this one out. Like I said, there, that'll close enough. Now I need, let's get this one in place to cover this opening. I want him down at the bottom of this transform group. So I'm just going to slide it, cut him and paste him right back in. And this will come over to where the opening to this fence is. And this will be almost one of the last ones to disappear. So now I want to bring the warning stripes down to the bottom. I want to bring the pylon down to the bottom. two signs down to the bottom. And I actually want to move the road pylon down so it disappears after the two signs. I want the I want the trigger. So it's all the way down at the bottom. Pallet trigger. Down at the bottom, and then this very, very bottom piece will disappear last. Alright, so that's our visibility node. As the factory's building, this wall and this fence will disappear. Player trigger 2 is for the build menu. So it goes there. And then our main player trigger I could bring back up, and it's going to get shrunk way, way, way down. So we're not using these big player triggers any longer on any of the maps. Player trigger goes here. It doesn't need to be as tall. So that's our main player trigger to get the pop-up menu. Oh, excuse me. Alright, so let's save this again. Again, I'm going to just completely close it, and I'm going to come back in and I want to fix the texture file pathing if we messed any of that up, which we did. So from the Pi factory, I need build 1, build 2. We need red DDS. And we need our trigger icons. That's all we need from there. So let's fix the pathing. And we'll save that. Now we open up the i3D. We should have no texture errors. Nope, so all of our textures are good. And I'm just going to look around, make sure I got nothing floating, everything where I want it. We have our power cells, visibility node. We have our barrels. Alright, so let's swing back on this side so I know this is going to be my front. Give that another quick save before I remove the plane. Now, I'm just going to minimize that. Minimize you for now. Create a new folder. We're going to go pallets. We have to build our pallets for the fermenting house. We are going to go to Ritchie Island. I'm going to go Objects, palettes, global company. I want the barrel palette. Let's open up that i3D. Give me a second to grab my notebook. Alright, so fermenting house. We're going to need a sauerkraut palette and a vinegar palette. So I'm going to go File. I'm going to export selection with files. I want to go to the fermenting house palettes. We're going to go SAUERKRAUT. This will be our sauerkraut palette. And now I'm going to go File, Export. We're going to go Vinegar. Vinegar palette. And then close that for now. Now let's go to our minimize. No, I'm going to need the barrels palette, XML. We're going to copy that. We're going to come over here to palettes. We're going to paste it. We're going to rename it sauerkraut palette. And we're going to paste another one in. We're going to rename it vinegar palette. And then we're going to go to, now I can minimize this one. We're going to probably need some textures, but we'll fix the textures in a minute. Sauerkraut palette is no longer barrels. So that's our sauerkraut palette. It's our sauerkraut palette, but the pathing is going to be different. It's just going to be palettes and then sauerkraut palette. And then we're going to change the fill type from barrels to sauerkraut. And that is all we should need to fix the sauerkraut palette. SAUERKRE. Yep, it looks like the spelling is correct. And then we need our vinegar palette. This will be a vinegar palette. This will be vinegar palette. Let's fix our pathing. And then our fill type is vinegar. Change this to vinegar. And that's our vinegar palette. Now let's open up the sauerkraut palette and I think it's the palette diffuse, or it's the barrels. Hold on, so let's open up our textures. Yeah, so it's the barrels diffuse. So now I'm going to go open up my external hard drive. Oh, come on, don't crash. There we go. I want this folder. I want optimized mods. I want the old fermenting house. I'm going to go palettes, textures. I want the vinegar palette and the sauerkraut palette texture. And we can paste them in here. So we don't have to rebuild the textures. The barrels diffuse we will no longer need. So I'm going to delete that, keep the file size down, and then let's fix our, this is the sauerkraut palette, so that was it is this one. It's our diffuse. So we want to leave our normal and our specular alone. So this is going to be sauerkraut, diffuse. This needs to get renamed underscore diffuse, and this is going to be vinegar underscore diffuse. So sauerkraut underscore diffuse, we'll save that. Now when we open up our sauerkraut palette, it should have all the textures fixed. And let's just create a light. Yep, so we have our sauerkraut palette. And then let's fix our vinegar palette. So this is going to be a vinegar diffuse. Save that. Now when we open this up, it should be our vinegar palette. Throw a light in here. So yep, there's our vinegar barrel. Now let's check our, oh sorry, I didn't want to open that. Edit with Notepad++. And there are no user attributes to fix. So we're good there. So that's our palettes are built. Particle systems are good, our sounds are good, our textures are good. Now let's grab from the Pi Factory, we need our scripts, our brand, our category, our GC checker Lua. We're going to put them in there. And then from, oh, did I not leave it open? I did not leave it open. Alright, so let's do that again. Storage D, optimized fermenting house. I want to grab the store photo. And let's take a quick look at it and make sure it's fine. Yep, that's fine. And then I need the fermenting house XML, the 110 XML, and the mod description XML. And we're going to bring them over here. Now I should be done with that file. So let's start with the mod description first. We're going to call this v1.1. It's still the fermenting house. It's going to make wine. It's going to need global company minimum version of 1.6. We need our GC checker Lua, but now we also need the categorizer Lua and the mod title Lua. So let's bring them over. And that takes care of all of our scripts. Our palettes, we're not going to need melon wine, red wine, rice wine. we are going to have our sauerkraut palette and our vinegar palette. So those are the only two palettes we're going to spawn out. Spelling looks correct. And then we need the brand, the change mod title and the new category. Let's bring them over. And this should fix our mod description for the new factory. Now, let's bring in the 110. It's still going to be the fermenting house. No, what do I need to change? It's got to be the FS19. It's got to be named the same as the mod title, or it will not work. So this is going to be, so you, yes, FS19, yep. Alright, so this whole line is going to change to FS19 Ritchie Fermenting House. And I'm not going to do a replace all, just because I want to watch them, make sure I don't miss anything. Alright. So our factory name is Fermenting House, or produces fermenting products. Our inputs are going to change. I'm going to go with the same as my notes. So we are going to go grapes, I'm going to go melon, rice, and go lowercase so they're all the same. After rice is cane. And then we're going to go red cabbage, water, sea salt, sea salt, power cells, and I went too far. Power cells, and then our last input 9 are barrels. And input 10 we can delete. Now, production line 1 is red wine. And I wanted a capital R in here. So we got red wine, melon wine, we have rice wine, we have rum, we have sauerkraut, and we have vinegar. Production line 7 I can delete. production line 8 we can delete, and let's rename this one 7. So FS19 Ritchie Fermenting House. We can put a space in there. Produces fermented products. We have 1 through 9 and 1 through 7. Now our factory XML is going to get quite a makeover. The brand is going to be Old Man 102. And the category is going to become Ritchie's Island Miscellaneous, and know most of what I need is in here, but I'm only going to put my inputs in here. So we have grapes. It is grapes with the plural. Melon, rice, sugar, cane, molasses, red cabbage, water, sea salt, power cells, and barrels. Our I3D is fermenting house. And our clear areas are now number 7. So that's a 7. That's a 7. That's a 7. Our level areas are going to be 7. It's going to spawn in as asphalt, and our seasons mask is also going to be a 7. Our save is going to stay fermenting house. Yep, our save is going to stay fermenting house, but this whole mess has to match our 110. Oh, did I get them all? Replace one. Oh, no, I messed that up anyway. Damn it! Let's go back to the top. FS19. This whole mess needs to be this. That's still not right. This whole mess needs to be that. Why are you not replacing? This whole mess. Alright, so let's try that again. This whole mess needs to be that. That looks better. That looks better. And this mess needs to become that. And you are the last one. Alright, so we'll save that. And alright, we'll come back up to the top. Fermenting house, global company underscore FS19, factory name, factory description. Alright, now we only have our goods. So let's go back to our in, exact fill route 1, pallet trigger 1. Exact fill route 1, pallet trigger 1. And this is going to be goods 2. And this is exact fill route 4 and pallet trigger 4. And we need pallet trigger 4. So that takes care of our in. Our loading trigger. Our loading trigger is going to change. Now we are going to FS19 from, yep, so our first input is grapes. Grapes. We are going to bump this up to 1,000,000. Unload trigger is goods. The grapes have no visibility node, so that can go. And our grapes are input display 1. Melon. Melon. We're not going to purchase them at the factory. Unload trigger is goods, and there is a digital display, so that is input 2. Input 3 is rice. this up to 1,000,000. And it is goods. And it's digital display number 3. Input 4 is cane. And bump it up to 1,000,000. It's going to be we're going to input sugar cane. Or molasses. No purchase. Input trigger goods. Digital display 4. So sugar cane is done. Red cabbage. Is next. Again, 1,000,000 liters. Red cabbage. Not going to purchase any. Input is goods. And it is display 5. 6 is going to be water. And again, bump it up to 1,000,000 liters. Fill type is water. And we are not going to purchase any. Input is going to be goods. Digital display 6, so that's our water. Sea salt is next. And I can leave that at 500,000. I'll just bump it up to 1,000,000 to be consistent. And this is going to be sea salt. And a no trigger is goods. And digital display number 7. 8 is going to be power cells. There's power cells. And again, just bump it up to 1,000,000. Input is going to be goods. Digital display 8. Now this one does have a visibility node. Do I have a visibility node in Dixie's Pie I can steal? Yeah, I do. So our power cells have a visibility node. And our visibility node for power cells are this one. Yeah, so our path is going to be 0, 33, and 10. So it is going to be 0, 33, and 10. So those are our power cells, and it is input 8. And then barrels. And again, to be consistent, let's bump it up to 1,000,000. Fill type is barrels. Unload trigger is goods. And I need another visibility node for barrels. And then I think our barrels are 0, 33, and 9. So that are our barrels, and that is our last input. So we can get rid of this one. And those are all of our inputs. Now our output. Hey Kilroy, welcome to the stream. I am working on the XML for the placeable fermenting house for the new map. And then eventually it'll work on the older maps. So our first one is going to be red wine. I'm just going to flop these around a little bit and then fix the so our red wine is going to be 1, but our spawner, we're not spawning these out. They are going to be a liquid. So I want our output, this is our output method. So our output method is going to be loading trigger 2. So our first output is red wine, so I can delete this one. Our second output is going to be melon wine. So this is going to be out display 2, but our output methods are going to change. To loading trigger 2. So red wine is out 1, melon wine is out 2, so we can get rid of this one. Alright, so what's after melon wine? Rice wine. So let's bring rice wine up. And after melon wine, just give me a couple spaces so I know where I'm at, is rice wine. Our output methods are going to change, and it is output 3. And then I can delete this one. Alright, so after rice wine, we have rum. So let's bring our rum up here. It is going to be number 4. And then our output methods are going to change. It is going to be loading trigger 2, and then rum we can get rid of. Alright, so after rum we have sauerkraut. A rumkin we're not going to have at all, so we can get rid of this. White wine we're not going to have, so I can get rid of this. And then we're going to pull sauerkraut above vinegar. After rum. And it is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, should be output 5. And now our sauerkraut we have 4,000 liters per pallet. It's pallets, it's sauerkraut pallet. And we're going to go start 1 to end 1. And we're going to go with a $2 million liter capacity on sauerkraut. Now I think I want start 1 and end 1. Where are our spawners? Operating parts, spawners. Yes, we have start 1 to end 1. And then we have start 2 to end 2. So we can actually double this up and spawn two lines out. So we can go start 1 to end 1 and start 2 to end 2. And that is our sauerkraut. Now our vinegar, let's bump this up to 2 million. It is 4,000 liters per pallet, and it's our vinegar pallet. And then we can just copy this one and paste it here. And it is output 6. Yes, so that is output 6. Sauerkraut is gone. Liquid manure is gone. Alright, so we have our vinegar. Next is trash. We can steal it from this one. And I'll bring that over here. Is trash, and it is output 7. It is loading trigger 2, so that's the same. So let's get our trash plane taken care of. Alright, so let's go to our trash plane, which is here. Our X is going to be here and here. Our Z is going to be here and here, and our high point is going to be here, and our low point is going to be here. So that's our trash plane. So that's our trash. We need sewage, so we can steal that from here. So after trash, we have sewage. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It is display number 8. And then our last output are dead cells. We can steal that from here. And we can put that in here. And it is going to be number 9. And it's 2,000 liters per pallet, and we need our dead cell pallets. Start 1 to end 1 is good. So I forgot to build that pallet into this factory. So let's go. Right? Yep, we need dead cell pallet. So let's open up the pie factory. Let's go pallets. Let's go dead cell pallet. We're going to go file, export selection with files, and we're going to go dead cell palette. We're going to save that. And then we need the dead cell palette XML. So that's our dead cell palette. Now we have to add it to our mod description. And we can just steal it from here. So I won't have to type it back out again. So there's our dead cell palette. Alright, so that takes care of our dead cells. Alright, now before I do that, I got to get everything in for the buildable. So we have to add in lumber, steel, drywall, concrete, plywood, and wallpaper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that's going to mess up my pathing. So let's go back to the fermenting house. So we have 6 more inputs to add. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's go 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So we need, what is it? Lumber, steel, drywall. So this is lumber, steel, drywall, lumber, steel, drywall, concrete, plywood, and wallpaper. Concrete, plywood. Crap. Wallpaper. So that's going to be 10 through 15. So we go to the pie company. We are going to steal. Oh, I'm going to have to do these the other way. Alright, let's do it the hard way. Let's go up to our imports. Alright, copy, paste. This is going to be, what was the first one? Lumber. And lumber. What are we bringing in for the build? I think these are all 10,000. Yeah, these are all 10,000 liters. And it is going to be input 10. Input is going to be lumber. It is going to be goods number 2. There is no visibility node, and there is no digital display. So that is our lumber. Copy this one, paste it in. This is going to be input 11, and input 11 is steel. And this is going to be steel. Input 12 is going to be drywall. And I got to change the capacities. Crap. Drywall. These are 10,000 liters. Nope. God, I can't type today. 10,000. 3 too many zeros. Right? Nope. 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. That's better. So that was input 12. Input 13 is going to be concrete. Fill type is going to be concrete. And then fill type 14 is going to be plywood. And this is so we can build the factory. And it is going to be plywood. And then the last fill type, 15, is going to be wallpaper. It's going to be wallpaper. Alright, so that is all of our inputs fixed. Now we need an output of project. Output of project. Output is project. Now our visibility on the project is going to be, let me just close all these so I don't mess anything up or I know where I'm at. Alright, so it's going to be 9 and 0. So it's going to be 9 and 0, so I don't need to change those. But we do need where's the Dixie Pie? Yep, okay, so we do need an output of, no outputs, production line. We have to add an extra production line in for the project. So actually production line 1 is going to be and we'll have to renumber these. So production line 1 is actually going to be our project to build the factory, and then these all have to be renumbered. And that fixes our production lines 2, 3, 4. Yep, so let's go into the fermenting house. Now production line 1 is going to be our project. So we're going to steal these inputs and outputs and player trigger. Come over to the fermenting house. Production line 1 is going to be input lumber, steel, drywall, concrete, plywood, and wallpaper. It's going to output our project. It's player trigger 2, and it's going to build our factory. So that is product line 1. Product line 2 is going to be red wine. Hey, that worked out. But we're going to output some trash. We are going to output some sewage. And we are going to output some dead cells. And trash, we can go down to 2%, give it 1% sewage, 2% dead cells. So we are going to input, I'm going to change these up. So we're going to input barrels, we're going to input grapes, we're going to need some cane, because we changed it up a little bit, some water, and then there's no diesel. Power cells. So barrels, grapes, sugar, water, power cells will make red wine. Let's go with 8,000 liters an hour. 20, so there's 50, 60, 70, 80, so we're inputting 92%, and I can live with that. 20%. Well, this is not using barrels. This is liquid, so we don't need barrels here. So let's give it 20% sugar. Let's give it 30% water. And let's give it 45% grapes to make red wine. That's going to be liquid fill. It's not going to be a barrel. Alright, so that's our red wine. There's our inputs, there's our outputs. We need a digital display. So this will be digital display 1. Oh no, we don't need digital display there. Never mind. So our product line 2 should be good. So 1 project. Alright, product line 3 is going to be melon wine. But it's also going to make trash, sewage, and dead cells. Oh, I hate when that does that. So let's just do this. And then we'll get rid of this. So we're going to have melon wine, trash, sewage, and dead cells. There are no barrels. You're going to be input of melon. So melon, cane, water, and power cells. So melon, cane, water, power cells. Melon will be 45%. Drop the sugar down a little bit. Bring the water up a little bit, and power cells. And then we can get our dead cells to recharge. So that should be melon wine. Product line 4 is going to be rice wine. It's also going to need trash, sewage, and dead cells. We don't need barrels, but we do need rice. We have cane, water, and power cells. So our rice will be 45%, 20%, and 30%. So that takes care of our rice wine. And then we have rum. So let's just delete this whole line. And then you become production line 5. We don't need barrels. We do need cane, water, and power cells. And there's no liquid manure. We're gonna give you some trash, some sewage, and some dead cells. Alright, so that should be our rum. After rum, we have sauerkraut. So we can get rid of this line. And our sauerkraut is gonna be 6, right? Sauerkraut, yep, is gonna be 6. We do need barrels. I need red cabbage. I need sea salt. I need water, and I need power cells. So barrels. Let's bump the red cabbage up to 45%. Sea salt, let's just go down to 15. So that's 60. 60, 70, 80, 90. I can live with that. 20% barrels, 45% red cabbage, a little bit of salt, a little bit of water, a little bit of power cells. It's going to give us sauerkraut. It's going to give us some trash, some sewage, and some dead cells. No liquid manure. That is production line 6. So I can live with that. Now we are going to copy this one. We are going to come here. Now we need vinegar. And I'm going to go barrels. This one I'm going to throw you a bonus. You're only going to put barrels, sea salt, water, and power cells, and we're going to get some vinegar. This is line 7. Line 7 is vinegar. And then line 8 is our main production. So we have, I'm just going to go down my list to make it easier. So we have grapes, melon, rice, cane, red cabbage, after red cabbage, water, sea salt, power cells, barrels, no diesel. Alright, this one is at 0 per hour because it's only for the production menu, but we're going to slow this factory down a little bit to 8,000 liters per hour. So you don't have to fill it every day. Alright. So now our outputs are going to be dead cells, sewage, trash, vinegar, sauerkraut, rum, rice wine, melon wine, and red wine. It is going to be player triggered. Now, we need our operating parts. Down here, we have our audio. There is only one smoke though, so I can get rid of these. So we have our sound and we have our smoke. And that should be product line 8. Now let's fix all of our i3D pathing. And then I'm going to get out of here and grab some lunch. So we have exact fill root node 1, we have palette trigger 1, we have in displays 1 through 9. We have out displays, I think it was 9, right? Output, yeah, output 9. So we have output 1 through 9. We have start 1, end 1, start 2, end 2 is for our spawners, player trigger, smoke 2, audio beacon, and trigger 2. Yeah, trigger 2. Trigger 2. We also have player trigger 2. Player trigger 2, and we also have plane for the trash. And we also have exact fill root 4. We're going to have exact fill root 4 and palette trigger 4, and then we'll have to fix all the lighting. But I do have to get out of here and grab some lunch, take a break for a little while. I may come back on in a few more hours and we'll finish up all the i3D pathing. We'll finish up all the pathing for the lights, and then we'll probably throw it in the game and fire it up and see what we can do to get it running after we finish building the XML. That's most of the XML work. It's not all the XML work, but that is some of the XML work. So I'm just going to save this. I'm going to close it, and I am going to get out of here. Appreciate everybody hanging out today. I'm going to get out of here, and we'll come back either later tonight or tomorrow, and we'll get this finished up.